Content creation is brutal. How are you supposed to upload every single day without losing your mind? What if the perfect project lands from your dream brand and you're nowhere near your setup? Or a client needs revisions now and your schedule is already swamped? It's enough to make you want to throw in the towel, but I have a confession to make. Those talking headshots, they weren't real. It was my AI avatar. He looks and sounds just like me, can be styled however I want, dropped into any environment I choose, and used to create content without ever needing a camera. And that changes everything for creators and brands trying to scale their output without burning themselves into the ground. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to build your own realistic AI avatar by uploading just 15 seconds of footage, and how you can use one to 10x your output without sacrificing quality. Before we get into it, I'm Jack, and if you want to be kept up to date with all of the latest AI tools and platforms, make sure to whack a like on this video and consider subscribing. To start creating, we're over on HeyGen, and on the homepage, you want to go across to create your own AI avatar. Now we have an option here to create a virtual character, which is useful if you're not looking to recreate someone's likeness. Or we can clone a real person, which of course is what we're focusing on, so we'll go ahead and click into this. The first step is to upload just 15 seconds of footage of yourself, which HeyGen will then use to train your AI avatar. So here it's going to be recreating your mannerisms, your style of presenting, and applying that to the motion of the video. We can record via webcam, we can go ahead and use our phone instead, or we can upload footage. I'm going to drag and drop in this video I took of myself. And honestly, it's just me talking a load of rubbish. I'm just saying the first stuff that came into my head. But I think this is good because I'm not delivering something that's being scripted. So there are a lot of natural breaks and pauses in amongst the video reference. My hand gestures, head rotation, those subtle eye movements are all happening in the same way that they would if I were just having a normal conversation with someone. And all of this is going to be very meaningful when it comes to training the AI. So we can add a name for our avatar and then go ahead and click create. So the process actually happens very quickly. And as you can see, we now have the option to use our avatar within a video. Now we have a very important step here to verify our identity. This is so that we can't just go around and clone whoever we want and make them say things that they wouldn't. So once I've clicked verify, all I need to do is read out this code to my webcam. And within 30 to 60 seconds, our avatar will be approved. Simple as that. And now we can get into designing our look, which is one of the key advantages of having an AI avatar, because we can specifically tailor them to suit any use case. We might want the clothing or background to feel casual, or we may want to go down the opposite route and go for something that feels a lot more formal. Now, the first thing I want to do is hover over this image of me at the bottom and select change base look. And now I have the option to upload this still that I took of myself within my normal setup with a very neutral expression. So we'll go ahead and drop that in there. Now, if we don't change our base look here, HeyGen is going to automatically go through and select a frame from that footage that we uploaded earlier on. And this might be fine for you, but I've realized that I make a lot of weird faces when I'm talking to camera. So the tool just struggles to find a neutral expression, which is ultimately what we're after here. And you can see we're actually having an issue flagged here, and that's because I'm wearing my glasses and my hat, which are accessories effectively blocking my face. But you know what? I'm going to leave that. This is how I dress for my videos, so I want to see how well HeyGen actually deals with this. Can it still give a convincing result with these present? Now you can see that we have a whole bunch of pre-made looks, and any of these that we like the look of, we can go ahead and just click on remix look, and we can just send off as many as we like here. And if we click on view, we can see each of them being generated as they go. But if we want to have a little bit more control over this step of the process, what we can do is hover over this icon here and select some scene elements. If I click into this, you can see that I have a couple of image references of myself. So I'm going to go ahead and select both of these. And this is essentially going to help in locking in character consistency. So we could go for something pretty simple like show the same bearded man wearing a grey hoodie. go ahead and send off that generation. Or maybe a little bit more drastic of a change. So we'll say show the same bearded man in a workwear jacket and dark grey t-shirt inside a podcast studio with dramatic purple lighting. And if we go into review now, you'll see that we have this really wide variety of different looks. Alternative backgrounds, clothing, and orientation, just a massive selection for you to choose from. This means you can revamp your avatar's studio or wardrobe without the need to spend thousands for real. This process is all about having variety and giving you as much control as possible. Now, when it comes to our voice, we have a couple of different options. If you have a good quality recording of you delivering your script, you can head over to the left-hand side and click on the upload audio option. That audio will then be mapped onto your AI avatar, and I've got some really great results this way. So let's say that it's not convenient for you to be at your home studio, but you still want to produce content. You can throw together an audio recording and let HeyGen worry about the visual side of things. The other option is to hover over this tab here for voice and click into it. And you can see that I already have a voice made up here, but if we go ahead and click switch, you'll see we have the option to clone, design a voice, or import from a third party. So here we want to go ahead and click clone your voice. Now we have the option to record directly into HeyGen, or once again, we can upload an audio file. So I'm going to go down this route once again. I can go ahead and drop in my pre-recorded audio file. And with that being said, we can go ahead and click generate voice and wait whilst our voice is being cloned. Once that's processed, you'll see that we have a few different options, each using a different AI voice model. Now let's go ahead and take a listen.
A great voice clone should sound clear, energetic, and just like you.
Yeah, okay, that one is not doing the job. Let's try 11 Labs V3.
Close your eyes. Does it sound like you talking? If you like what you hear, let's make your first.
So both of the 11 Labs results I'm not really feeling. Let's go ahead and try fish.
Hi, I'm excited you're here. This is your voice clone preview. Take a quick listen.
So whilst this sounds kind of like me, I don't think it's 100% there. It's a little bit monotonal and there's not a lot of emotion or excitement involved in the delivery. However, it is the best of the options we have here. So I'm going to go ahead and click use this voice. Now, the difficulty in cloning my voice may be because I have a bit of a strange accent. I was born and raised in South England, which is a bit more of like a posh accent, I guess you'd say. But now I live in South London. So there are kind of two polar opposites there in my accent that happen across sentences, you know. So maybe a little bit difficult for an AI model to kind of wrap its head or understanding around my specific accent. Like I say though, if I were to use this tool, I would just go ahead and upload some audio, and that way you know that the voice is going to sound right because it's actually going to be yours. You'll also see on the left hand side, we can go ahead and drop the script in here that we'd like to have read out by our AI avatar. And there are a few different options here as well to lock in that specific tone. If we click into the delivery style tab, we can direct our voice by describing the type of emotion that we're after. We can also use voice mirroring. So this is where we can record ourselves and then HeyGen will match the delivery using the voice clone to kind of marry things up a bit closer to how we actually sound. And then we can, of course, also use auto enhance to add tags to control emotion, pacing, and sound effects if you want more of a straightforward route. Let's go ahead and test out the voice mirroring here. So we'll just use the basic microphone built into our laptop here. This microphone is set up with my recording setup, so it's not going to be used for this. How are you supposed to upload every single day without losing your mind? Well, I have a confession to make. So with that recorded, we can go ahead and click apply. All right, let's take a listen to the result that we got.
How are you supposed to upload every single day without losing your mind? Well, I have a confession to make. Everything you've just watched wasn't even me. it was my AI avatar. So again, whilst this isn't perfect, I think it is closer than just using the base voice clone. I think the mirroring kind of helps to enhance it a little bit and get it closer to my kind of mannerisms. For our motion engine, we definitely want to be using Avatar 5. This is HeyGen's latest model, and it will lead to these really nice natural movements that will pair well with your voice clone. When it comes to the background, you can customize by selecting one of the stock images available on HeyGen. You can also straight up remove the background, or you can go ahead and add a specific color instead, like this green screen color, very useful when it comes to the edit. You can see from this result, it isn't doing a perfect job of isolating me from the background. That's probably because there isn't that much contrast between, for example, this chair and then the chair over there behind me. But it's probably good enough if you're just using it for social content, TikToks and things like that, where it's going to be quite small in the frame. If we switch back to our original background, we can also use this circle cutout option here, which is really useful if you're making tutorial style content. And because of how Avatar 5 works, it's definitely viable to use this tool to make long form content like you'd expect for tutorials. So this workflow could be really quite handy. Everything from the visuals to your voice are going to remain nice and consistent, whether you're generating 30-second clips or clips ranging over 10 minutes. You're going to have that consistency there for a variety of use cases. For this example though, we can just go ahead and click original. And once we're happy with everything else, we can go up to the top right hand corner and click on generate. Got a bunch of options here, including resolution and format as well, WebM if we want a transparent background, for example. Once you have all of these details locked in, you can click submit. What's useful as well is we can also save this template. So we could go ahead and call it something like Jack Studio so we can reuse it later. And now it's just a case of waiting for our generation to come through. So we have here a whole load of different generations that I made up here inside of HeyGen. And to finish off the video, I wanted to go ahead and take a look at some of them in very close detail. So first of all, let's look at our kind of main example here, where it's matching the framing that you can see in my face cam right now. So just a reminder that the voice that you can hear was an uploaded audio file. So really with this example, we're focusing on the visuals. How realistic are the facial and upper body movements and those kind of hand gestures as well. After a while, I kind of realized that getting AI to do what you wanted, it was a quite steep learning curve, but also part of the fun as well in a weird way. It becomes quite addictive, the kind of prompt engineering side of things. How are you going to communicate your vision to AI that has no context whatsoever beyond what we supply it? So I do have to say, I think this is really, really quite impressive. Those kind of subtle eye movements, the way that my head is rotating, and you can see the lighting reflections moving around in my glasses. It turns out that using these accessories hasn't caused any real problems at all, despite it being flagged. Probably what I find most impressive about HeyGen is the lip syncing movement. That looks really on point. There's not something that's feeling particularly artificial happening there, which is really great. We can see here that HeyGen has really meaningfully applied that video footage we uploaded at the start to train our avatar. He is really moving and behaving like I do when I'm delivering pieces to camera. Now I want to take a look at a vertical example that you could use for some short form content. And this is also using voice mirroring as well. So this is where we have our voice clone, and we were just using the built-in microphone within my laptop to read out the script using my kind of inflections. And then that is being applied to the voice clone to try to get it to be closer to my actual accent. So let's take a listen to this example. How are you supposed to upload every single day without losing your mind? Well, I have a confession to make. Everything you've just watched wasn't even me. was my AI avatar. So again, the hand gestures and those subtle facial movements really are on point. The voice, whilst it's not perfect, I think the voice mirroring has managed to sway it a little bit more towards how I actually sound. I would still veer towards just uploading an audio file, to be completely honest. But you can see here that using HeyGen, you could definitely use this for short form content, I think. It doesn't give that vibe of like AI avatars where they just look very stiff and lifeless. There is a lot more humanistic realism coming across here. And we'll just end on taking a quick look at our green screen example as well here. After a while, I kind of realized that getting AI to do what you wanted, it was a quite steep learning curve, but also part of the fun as well in a weird way. It becomes quite addictive, the kind of prompt engineering side of things. How are you going to communicate your vision to AI that has no context whatsoever beyond what we supply it? So again, the performance of my avatar is all looking pretty great, I think, and nice to see that slightly different camera view. If you wanted to use that for some of your edits, we can redesign the image itself, the base image, and then apply our avatar's motion and voice to that. If you want to kind of switch things up a bit, where we're having some difficulties is the AI masking, where you can see the background is kind of flicking on and off around the fingers and the wrists and things like that. Again, I think this is probably because there isn't an awful lot of contrast between the foreground elements in the shot that you can see right now and the background elements. The color of this chair, for example, very similar to the color of the chair behind me. So if you had an actual green screen there, that should eliminate that problem. The AI is struggling to understand what's foreground and background element. Essentially, still, I mean, social content is very forgiving. I still think this could be viable within an edit, to be perfectly honest. With that being said though, guys, I really do hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you've got any questions whatsoever, be sure to drop them down below in the comment section. I always try to reply to as many as I possibly can. If you'd like to support me, you can go ahead and whack a like on this video, and of course consider subscribing so that I can keep you up to date with all of the latest AI platforms and tools. We've explored HeyGen in a great deal of detail. Today we've taken a look at their new model Avatar 5, and if you'd like to go ahead and use it for yourself for your own creative projects, you'll find a link to the tool down below in the video description. Really appreciate you guys watching today. If you wanted to go ahead and check out some more of my content, you can click on the video on screen now. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.